G'day, this is RS3 Ignited. I'm just setting up another pond here using one of those garden garbage bins, or sort of garden plastic bins that are specifically made for gardens. I got this one down at Bunnings. It's actually a UV proof plastic, but just for a countermeasure I'm going to attach this heshing bag, which I've done. Sort of tied it on here, and it's got like a nice aesthetic appeal, try and hide the garbage bin look. And then I'm just using these really short screws to sort of get it in there and clamp the lid down on there. And the whole reason for this is to create like a sort of anti-jumping barrier. The fish in here will have their water level just up to here. That'll also help them from jumping out, but I'm also going to have an overflow exit here. Very similar contraption here, where you've got like a little sponge to stop the little babies sort of escaping. But anyway, I'll get cracking on to that, and I'll show you where I'm going to put it and what's going to happen next. Just going to sort of tap that last one in. That's it. Now that we got all the screws in there, it should sort of stop the hessian bag from coming off. The string I originally just put here to hold it on till I screw it in, but it'll I'll leave it on there anyway. It adds a sort of like a natural appeal, and I do plan to get some plants sort of growing up the side here if they want to, but it's mainly just to hide the bin from the sun so it doesn't get UV exposure. It will be placed in the shade over there where I actually had a pond before, and it'll get a bit of shade from that purple plant there, as well as only a bit of afternoon sun. Haven't decided what fish I'll put in here. I think I'm going to go with a very simple soil type substrate, and then I'll put some lilies in there and then go from there. So this is actually a mess I've made from recent projects. I'm actually working on another stand here for an aquarium. So what I'll be using for the overflow pipe, I'll probably use a step drill to drill through one of them. Another way you can do it is to use a glass drill bit. They work quite good on plastic too. I think we'll go with the step drill, and we'll drill down to 19mm, which is the outlet fitting size. Get a little bugger in there. These can be quite sort of finicky to get on. This chuck here, even though this is just a cheap brand drill from Bunnings, this chuck here actually has like a lock where you just give it a click like that and it locks, and then it won't undo sort of when you start drilling and turning it. So start drilling through here a bit. I had to use two hands for that one, sorry. So I couldn't show you the full bit, but yeah, we've drilled through. We've got the 19mm hole, and we'll tip that plastic out because we don't want those little plastic fragments in the pond. And then we'll get the fitting on there. I'll just clean this up. So we'll use a bit of this plumbing tape, and then we'll use that as the overflow outlet. It's off an old pond. And then we just need a female fitting to go on the inside. We've got one right here. This one's a little bit smaller. The water's only got to trickle out if it rains. And there's even a little sponge filter in there. That's just the Sunday afternoon entertainment out there on the road. Anyway, yeah, we'll just use this. This will stop any like fish fry getting in, but it's still porous enough to allow water to exit the pond. I'm not sure what you are, but you look like a pesky miner. Please comment below if you know what this bird is. He is an absolute menace. Sometimes he tries to peck my guppies and that out of the pond. It's been about a week and I've now got the pond, the garbage bin pond, set up properly, and it's actually coming along all right. We've got some Salvinia which I put in the top there, and some Monte Carlo on the bottom. There's some Monte Carlo down there, Salvinia, a bit of stray duckweed. I've just sort of got the air siphon system running sort of from the sponge, from the sponge filter there. It sort of has an air stone that siphons it up, and then it comes out of here and then trickles over this biomedia. And this biomedia was actually pre-established biomedia which come from here, from the aquarium pond system. I've had it running in here for over 12 months, so it's very well established. This pond, aquarium pond, I never change the water. In fact, I never change the water in any of my ponds. I'll just let rain fill them up and sort of do its thing. And then I just like the kind of idea of putting the hessian around it, because it just sort of protects it a bit from UV light, as well as it gives it sort of a more natural look. I've just had some spider grass which I planted here a fair while back, and it's multiplied out of these little shoots, and I've just moved some over here. I just kind of want to have like a takeover look of nature. Just got some of that river gravel in there too. Some sort of white pea gravel, which I grabbed from over in the pond over here. Let's have a quick look. So that stuff right there. It's actually a Fluval brand gravel. Reasonably expensive. I just got it on sale down at the local fish shop. I trimmed back this Alodia and it's just taken over again. It provides the fish a nice habitat. This is another pond that I set up sort of the same time as I did the garbage bin pond. Like a little guppy grass pond. One male there, heaps of females that he can sort of do his thing with. But anyway, yeah, just going back to the garbage bin pond, I'm not entirely sure what fish I'll put in there yet, whether I'll just select some of my half cast hybrid guppies from over there, or maybe I'll get some of these swordtails from out of there, or some platies. Ideally, I'd like to get something new, like maybe some mollies. I was thinking balloon mollies. Just at the moment, we're getting into the colder months of Queensland weather, and I would prefer not to introduce any tropical fish because it won't allow them enough time to acclimatise. As I've said in my other videos, I've introduced guppies, swordtails, platies, just about any tropical fish, even the neon tetra pond there, and then the African tetra pond over there, and the Bonacerea tetras. I introduced them sort of during summer, and they bred throughout summer, and the next generation obviously gets a bit hardier as they acclimatise into the colder months, and I've lost barely any guppies or barely any tropical fish over the last winter that we had last year, because they just acclimatised very well. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I'll put in the garbage bin pond yet, but I am leaning towards mollies. You just can't go wrong with live bearers. They just breed real fast and they're easy to look after. thought I'd put this here just so when the Salvinia provides a bit of shade and it takes over, there'll be room to sort of sprinkle food in there. Kind of very similar to what I've done with most of these ponds. I've sort of done it over here with the Azolia. And then again there with the Salvinia. And also again with more Azolia. You see they're used to being fed, that's why they've come up to the top. I'll do an update video on this pond once we get back into the warmer months, sort of around late October, November. But for now, I'll be uploading more project videos, talking more about fish in other videos. Until then, this is Artistry Ignited. Tune in again soon.